Half in the bag. I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, hi, welcome to Half in the Bag. I'm Jay.
And I'm Mike.
Who are you talking to?
And we just saw the new Robocop.
Yeah. Well, it's confirmed. Howard the Duck is still my favorite movie. What? What?
What's wrong with this guy?
I don't know. But I'm drinking a cherry teeny.
We're gonna put a man inside a machine.
He suffered fourth-degree burns over 80% of his body. If he survives, he'll be paralyzed from the waist down, confined to a wheelchair.
You say you can save him, but what does that mean? What kind of life will he have?
So the Robocop, the remake, is the new film by Pablo something, and it stars two guys from cop shows. The guy who played Robocop was on a series called The Killing, and the guy who played the partner was on NYPD Blue or NCIS, or oh no, he was on.
NYPD Blue's like 20 years old.
He was on the Wire.
Okay.
Wire. And they were in this film about Lieutenant Alex Murphy, who gets blown up by his car and then turned into Robocop Man. So what did we all think of this, the new Robocop? We'll start with Officer Krumke, or whatever your name is.
Well, I saw this video online a couple months ago. Some guy watches the Robocop trailer.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
And his expression through the whole trailer was just like this. For me, it was like that.
Okay.
Only for 2 hours.
Oh.
Okay, Jay?
Could have been worse. It was, as far as remakes go, we were talking about, the proper way, if a movie is remade, even though it doesn't have to be, the best way to do it is to approach the material from a completely different angle. And this movie distanced itself enough from the original where I could watch it as its own movie and sort of judge it as its own movie and not just constantly be reminded of the original Robocop. And it's okay.
See, you can distance yourself from the original when you're doing a remake, but you're still gonna have to be compared to it.
Sure,
they can't get around that.
We will compare it, I'm sure, as
Sure.
we discuss this to the original. But I was not, through the whole movie, I was not thinking of the original. Except for the moments where they shoehorned in something from the original, like they did shoehorn in, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
Slightly tweaked.
Wouldn't call that a shoehorn.
Well, it's a line in the movie, but it's a nod that actually took me out of the movie. And every time they do that with the score too. I was surprised to hear the original Robocop score, but it was used so awkwardly and inappropriately through the moments that it is used.
It does not have as much fun as the first one, which is obvious.
Nowhere near.
It's the kind of the humor and the life is kind of sucked out of it, but it's fairly slick and competent, and does take the material and do different things with it, which we can't fault it for.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's taking the Robocop name, which the font and the music.
Yeah.
Just call this Cyborg Man. For obvious reasons, they won't, because they're trying to.
I know they want to
market
profit off the
profit
Robocop
off
name,
the
but
Robocop name.
I couldn't help during the entire movie just thinking about how much more entertaining the original Robocop was.
See, I was engaged enough. Like, not that it was a good movie, or a great movie. I mean, it was watchable, it was okay, but I wasn't thinking about the original Robocop that much during it. Which I guess is the most you can hope for from something as bland and generic as this.
I thought about it here and there. I liked the original, or the first suit that he wore. That was the silver Robocop version.
It looks a lot better.
And that was neat. And then when they put the black suit on him, and it's like some of those things drew me out.
Well, the movie's sort of self-reflexive in a lot of ways when it comes to that angle of it, where it's done for marketing purposes. They have like focus groups and stuff, and it's almost like it's reflecting on the movie itself, the remake itself. I was thinking of the 21 Jump Street movie, like they do that in that movie too, where it's sort of commenting on itself.
Well, Michael Keaton has a line in this about, and it seems sort of self-referential.
It was something about people don't like bland, like they want something that'll pop and be slick and new. It was some like dialogue about that.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing OCP being the MGM or whatever studio made this movie, and it kind of had that feel to it.
I mean, obviously, it's meant to appeal to everybody. It's PG-13 instead of R.
Right. Well, that's actually kind of annoying in the movie. The talk of the sort of self-reflexive stuff about like demographics and marketing and all that, because it's like, okay, you're aware of that angle of remaking this movie. So instead of just commenting on the fact that you're doing that,
You're gonna
just
fall
make your
right
own,
into it.
Just make your own movie. It's almost like it's sort of like like trying to be clever, but it's not really clever. Like by commenting on the fact that you're a bland generic remake, you know?
Yeah, this takes the original elements. It's like someone said, "Oh, this RoboCop thing, it's great. It's going to have action in it. It has these robots. It has the wife and child. It has this human element." And they took all those things and they just flattened them with an iron and spread them out over the movie. I mean, I guess I felt more for this RoboCop than I did for the original one, but that wasn't the point of the original.
Right. Well, and that's the nice thing with the new one is that they're trying to go for a different angle with that. Like it's almost for the first half of the movie, it's almost an inverse of RoboCop's arc from the original movie, where he starts off when he's in the RoboCop suit, he's more human, and they slowly take his humanity away.
Make him more tactical. Make him look, let's go with black.
When the machine fights, the system releases signals into Alex's brain, making him think he's in control. But he's not. It's the illusion of free will.
First RoboCop, original RoboCop, was very satirical.
Yes.
As we discussed in our RoboCop episode. I saw lots of signs of that sort of social satire in this. You guys get that?
Well, it's not presented as satire in this. It's presented more grounded than that.
It's very grounded, but there's those elements.
Sure. I mean, there's the what is it called? The Novak.
The Novak
element or something.
The
like
Novak
that.
element, which is I think aping off the O'Reilly factor on Fox News.
Yeah, it's clearly supposed to be a Fox News stand-in.
So there's that element, and where you have the public opinion, and you have politics, and how cable TV news runs things or shapes public opinion.
Yeah.
And then you have I saw the Michael Keaton character as more of like a Bill Gates type, as opposed to soulless corporate 80s cocaine snorting businessman. I saw him more as like the tech guys that got out of hand and then become greedy and corrupt themselves. I didn't like Samuel L. Jackson in this, by the way. I thought he was a very bad TV show host.
He's not right for that role, and all those segments, just as their own segments, kind of took me out of the movie every time they showed up, because it felt like not shoehorned in, but it didn't feel like it was commenting on the world of the movie the way that the new segments in the original movie did.
Well, that's what their attempt was, to sort of come up with a style similar to that.
It was, but it didn't work in this case. It didn't. I looked forward to the new segments in the original movie, and here they're just like, But they are, at least they are kind of taking that angle, like the sort of worldview, and updating it, where right now it is in the world, like people are very, very divided in opinions, and it's more about like passing bills and then the news commenting on that. So there are those elements, but there's no like bite to it. They're not presented, like I said, they're not presented satirically so much as they are presented in a way where they're supposed to be kind of realistic.
Not humorous satire.
Right, and that
more
makes it
realistic.
not terribly fun to watch.
No, but you have those elements that are present in the first one, like we said, the politics, news, all the cameras everywhere, like just digital technology, like instantaneous technology is incorporated into his like police work as opposed to the first one. The first one predicted DVDs and
he stuck a little thing into a thing and got information.
Right, but now it's like much faster.
Which I actually liked.
Yeah.
I liked that, him seeing a guy in a crowd and immediately like pinpointing what crimes he's committed and arresting him right there. Like I was okay with that.
Yeah. So it's not humorous, but it's still somewhat there.
It's more commentary than satire.
Sure.
Everything in the first RoboCop is exaggerated. This isn't exaggerated. They're trying to say something, but in a different way.
It's the same theme as the first one. Soulless, money-grubbing businessmen try and turn man into machine and make profits from it, essentially.
I can't be too hard on the new. I think people before the new RoboCop came out, everybody wanted to hate it and was expecting to hate it. And I can't really hate it. Like, it's okay.
RoboCop creation and training stuff and all that was more interesting to me in this one. than it
Yeah,
was in
they
the
brush
first
over
one.
it in the original one
It's
because that's
very
not,
brushed over.
It's not what the original one's about.
Right,
so.
right. But yeah, talking about his brain and them operating on his brain, and then when they show him deconstructed, when it's just his lungs in the tank, and it's kind of creepy, and then all that stuff I liked. Him solving the police corruption subplot and killing the Terrence Bodiger equivalent. All of the Robocop stuff was boring.
It fell flat, yeah. There was one action scene that the idea of it was kind of cool, but actually watching it was sort of headache-inducing, where it's a shootout that's completely in the dark, and it's just lit by the muzzle flashes, which that alone might have been interesting. But on top of that, they're also showing like RoboCop's infrared vision, and there's some other way it was executed. So it's cutting between all these different things. It's like choose one and stick with that. And one of those would have been neat.
Then it's like the POV stuff with the shooting, it's video game-esque.
Yeah, all the action in this was kind of flat.
I was fine with that scene. What doesn't work about the cop subplot is none of the characters are interesting. Like the villain is so fucking bland.
Yeah.
I am the bad guy. I don't want to kill a cop, but I might have to.
You need to speak to your son.
The wife and child subplot was very modern movie generico to me. It's like perfect-looking family. All the wife does is cry at home.
The whole movie, yeah. The second half of the movie is just her crying
and
and
the little boy is just perfect, and he's daddy, and they have no charm or character to them. They're just like stock wife and child characters.
Yeah,
so I couldn't really pull for them or get behind them.
As characters, they were bland, but to me, that angle of it, of him being kept from her, and I was okay with that, because at least it was a different angle than the original movie.
Well, they don't even establish the relationship as being that great beforehand. It's just they just have dinner.
Yeah.
Right.
She doesn't seem particularly happy. The marriage doesn't seem particularly happy. It's just, we're gonna have dinner.
I was really hoping for some unintentional
Now we're gonna
comedy.
go to bed.
I was really hoping for some unintentional comedy when RoboCop goes home for the first time. I was like picturing him like awkwardly walking through the house, but they didn't execute it in a way that made it funny.
So, what do we do now? Can you eat dinner? No, I don't have a stomach. Oh, okay. You know, sits down in the chair and it breaks at the kitchen table. And
Something to give the movie a little life would have been good.
Yeah, not take it quite so seriously, but maybe that was their intention.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you beefed up Murphy and the wife and the son ahead of time and cut out some of the tail end stuff. And also, was it really the best time to download a gigantic database of information in his brain? While the press is outside?
Yeah, they're out there waiting. When is he going to be done downloading this information?
Some experimental procedure that you don't know what the hell's going to happen in this thing that you don't know what the hell it's going to do?
Yeah, I thought that part was funny. And in relation to that, setting up the wife and his family situation, they also didn't really set up Detroit. Like, it looks like nice future city, but then at one point there's a comment about how it's the most crime-ridden city in the U.S., and it's like, it is? Like, there's nothing like that in this movie.
Yeah.
There's no sort of setting.
In order to establish that, you would need to have violence, and they couldn't have violence in this movie because it had to be PG-13.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to show like people getting their heads blown off, but just something.
It doesn't have to be graphic, but there needs to be violence and blood.
You have to establish
unpleasantness.
Disagree.
I don't think it needs to be graphic, but you just need some sort of setup.
You need to show a couple of people standing around a garbage can on fire, going like this, and then spray paint everywhere.
Buildings knocked, half knocked
and
over.
then just Detroit's become a crime-ridden city. Crime's up 600%. And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then, people on the news going, I don't have anything. They broke into my house.
Something as opposed to absolutely nothing.
That would be too fun.
I got very Dark Knight vibes from this movie.
Oh yeah, especially when he's on his little motorcycle. And
motorcycle, the black armored bodysuit, the presence of Gary Oldman, the constant score. It felt Dark Knight-ish to me. And I guess that the resonance of the Dark Knight is still
being felt.
Happening.
We haven't gotten past it yet.
We gotta take Robocop now and twist it a little darker.
When a movie makes $800 million domestically, they're going to be aping that one for decades.
Oh,
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Why don't we get a new movie that other movies try to ape?
They tried to make it. It was called Rich, did you approve of the use of ED-209?
I don't even know why they bothered calling it the ED-209.
Because people recognize it.
I know.
I was really worried because I saw, before seeing the movie, I saw the clip of Robocop flipping around on the two ED-209s, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. But in the context of the movie, it didn't bother me that much, like, because I wasn't thinking like, oh, they're ruining ED-209 from the original.
That's the most outlandish scene in the movie, though.
It is. There's not a lot of other parts like that, so.
I mean, I was afraid every action scene would be over the top. Robocop doing jump flips out of flying airplanes.
Yeah, it was
sliding down a building. All of the action scenes were fairly grounded in reality.
You thought it was going to get all Star Trek Into Darkness, didn't you? Yes. With Spock beating someone in the face on a flying hovercraft. That's a good point to make, is that the action wasn't excessive or unnecessary most of the time. They go to an old warehouse in China to do a test run where he's shooting other Robocops or previous models, robo-droids, police droids. Yeah. And the Jackie Earl Haley character that is there, and sets up their little antagonism.
Their conflict.
Conflict, whatever. And then a couple of the scenes where he goes out and starts busting crime, there's that segment, and that's fine. And then he's got to get to the rooftop to stop the bad guy. He's got to get past the droids. Fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. Yeah.
Except for the ED-209, I liked the action scenes in the movie.
See, the action was my least favorite part. It just didn't do anything for me.
It doesn't do anything for you because there's not really a strong story element behind it. Like the bad guy is so generic.
First one, it's Terrence Bodiger is not the real bad guy, but he's the big one. He's the one you hate.
Just give me my fucking phone call.
The OCP guys are the bad guys pulling the strings, and at the end, RoboCop, takes care of them too. But you really want to get Terrence Bodiger. He's a real asshole.
And he goes out in a blaze of glory. Just a stream of gore.
And this one, it's like, okay, I started to feel a little like, Alex Murphy, his brain got messed up, and now he's back, and he's going to go after the guy. And he wasn't that loathsome. He wasn't such a big prick like Terrence Bodiger. You didn't really care either way.
Right. And he could have, at the end, RoboCop could have just shot him and killed him, or he could have arrested him, and I wouldn't have had any different reaction.
Yeah.
Like if in the original RoboCop, if Clarence Boddicker was just arrested, not violently killed, I would have been disappointed.
Yeah. And this one, like Michael Keaton, is a guy in a turtleneck and sport coat, and he's, I gotta make my money. Like, go get him, or something.
You have to get him before the helicopter takes off, I guess.
He goes to the press. Tells lies to the press.
He's not holding your family hostage, but they're just kind of there on the roof with him.
He threatened them with a gun.
He threatened the idea of threatening them with a gun. And that was kind of it.
It's like, maybe I'll decide to shoot them, but I probably won't.
Oh no! I really fear for RoboCop's family. Oh, that kind of sums up the whole movie, I guess.
Somehow, he's overriding the system's priorities.
The human element will always be present. Compassion, fear, instinct, they will always interfere with the system.
So overall, Mike, would you recommend RoboCop 2014?
I think I would. If you go in as Cyborg Action Man, the movie, it's entertaining, it's slick, it's well done. It has a good, easy to follow storyline. The action is fine. Again, like most people are saying, it's like a 50-50 split on it because it doesn't have that bite, that sarcasm, that comedy that the first one does. It doesn't have that element of energy and life and fun. It's interesting to see a different kind of RoboCop movie. I think the fact that it's called RoboCop has our heads in a knot, because if RoboCop didn't exist and this movie was called Cyborg Cop or something else, and we went and saw it, we'd probably be like, "This is a pretty good movie. I liked it." As long as you don't have a guy in the row behind you coughing his fucking lungs out the whole movie.
Oh God, there's like a
farting.
phlegm factory in the theater. That was weird. Isn't the theater going experience wonderful? Just constantly people coughing and looking at their phones and talking to each other.
Yeah. Some of the people around us seemed bored. Well, the guy was just like, he kept telling me what time it was though, because he had one of those giant Galaxy phones where he's like, I think the phone kept getting bigger.
Oh, that's
like
weird.
every time he would bring it up, it was like inches bigger, and it's like 6 o'clock. I was like, oh, it's 6
The
o'clock.
weird part is that at one point he was watching a torrent of Robocop
Yeah.
in front of the screen. So I found myself just watching that instead of the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was in the movie. Robocop, watch out for that guy with the cell phone. Oh, there's a guy behind you coughing up phlegm. Robocop, look out!
But anyway, I hate to be so wishy-washy, but maybe like a rental or something. I don't know. I wasn't terribly engaged by anything. I was surprised that it was a little smarter than I was expecting, which I guess when you look at a lot of the other movies released this time of year, that's a plus. But just as its own movie, the action didn't do much for me. I didn't get any sense of any sort of overall arc to the story. There's just lots of little stories going on, so it was okay.
Yeah, I found the elements of a corporation trying to market a product, trying to market robots as police officers to be more interesting than Robocop.
Yeah.
And so from that element, that's a positive.
C or C minus.
Okay.
I had next to no strong reaction to the movie. I didn't hate it either.
Yeah.
But I certainly didn't love it.
It dealt with themes more than I was expecting, and I think if you're going to see just a dumb action movie, I think that's why the guy in front of me was bored. So bored, he kept checking his phone every 10 minutes, and he was like this, like he had his hand on, like he was bored, noticeably bored. And I was not. I was bored during the action parts. Like I closed my eyes when the guns are going off because I don't care, and I was interested in the political elements of it and all the business elements. I found that more interesting. So, yeah, it's weird.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
So the CG on the robot hands playing the guitar in the one scene in the movie, I thought that looked really great.
That was all CG?
That was all CG. Even the guitar was CG.
Oh my God, that looks so fucking good. The guy who did that should really be given a raise.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
What's that smell?
Oh, that's the dead body in the back.
Oh, I forgot about the dead body in the back.
All right, I'm supposed to be here to check on that suspicious smell. I forgot about that too. I'm so glad you guys reminded me. I was just about to leave.
Oh shit, what are we gonna do?
I don't know. What? What's that?
Whoa, what the fuck is happening?
Oh my God, what's that?
Where did he go?
Oh my God! I'm on the Howard the Duck planet! I wonder what kind of crazy adventures I'll get into now! Ow.